Are you gearing up for a JavaScript interview? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into the top 20 most frequently asked questions that can help you boost your confidence and get you ready to impress your interviewer. It's all about preparation, and I'm here to make sure you feel equipped and ready to tackle anything that comes your way. Let's start with the basics. First off, what is JavaScript? At its core, JavaScript is a versatile programming language that's primarily used to create interactive and dynamic web applications. If you think about it, it's like the magic wand that brings websites to life. Without JavaScript, we'd be stuck with static pages that don't respond to user interactions. So, when you're asked this question, remember to highlight its role in enhancing user experience and interactivity. Now, let's move on to data types. What are the key data types in JavaScript? You've got your string, number, boolean, null, undefined, object, and symbol. Each of these plays a unique role in how you handle data within your applications. Strings are for text. Numbers are for numerical values. Booleans are true or false. Null represents an intentional absence of any value. Undefined is for variables that haven't been assigned a value yet. Objects are collections of key value pairs, and symbols are unique and immutable identifiers. Knowing these will not only help you answer the question, but also give you a solid foundation for writing effective code. Now, let's dig a little deeper. What are primitive data types in JavaScript? This is a common follow-up question, and it's essential to understand that primitive data types are the most basic types in JavaScript. They include string, number, boolean, null, undefined, and symbol. These types are immutable, meaning they cannot be changed once created, and they hold a single value. This is crucial because it affects how you manage data and understand memory in your applications. Here's another question that often trips people up. What's the difference between is and is? It's simple, yet so important. The is operator checks for value equality, meaning it checks if the values are the same, regardless of their type. On the other hand, is a strict equality operator that checks both value and type. This distinction is vital because it can help you avoid unexpected bugs in your code. Always remember to use when you want to ensure that both the value and the type match. Now, let's transition to some intermediate concepts. What is a closure? This is a concept that often comes up in interviews. A closure occurs when a function retains access to its lexical scope, even when that function is executed outside of its original scope. This means that inner functions can still access variables from their outer function, which is powerful for data privacy and encapsulation. It's a fundamental concept that can help you write more modular and maintainable code. Moving on, what about the event loop? This is JavaScript's mechanism for handling asynchronous operations. The event loop allows JavaScript to perform non-blocking operations, ensuring that the main thread remains smooth and responsive. It's what enables you to handle events like clicks and keystrokes without freezing the browser. Understanding how the event loop works can give you a significant edge, especially when discussing performance optimization in your applications. Next up, let's talk about async await. These keywords are game changers when it comes to working with promises. They simplify asynchronous code, making it easier to write and understand. Instead of chaining then methods, you can use async await to write asynchronous code that looks and behaves like synchronous code. This makes your code cleaner and more readable. which is always a plus in any programming environment. Now, what are arrow functions? Arrow functions are a concise way to write functions in JavaScript. They utilize the eq syntax, which not only makes your code shorter, but also has some key differences from traditional function expressions. For instance, arrow functions do not have their own this context, which means they inherit this from the parent scope. This feature is particularly useful in callbacks, where you want to maintain the context of this without having to bind it explicitly. Let's shift gears and tackle some advanced questions. What is hoisting? Hoisting is JavaScript's behavior of moving declarations to the top of their containing scope during compilation. This means that you can use variables and functions before they are declared in the code. However, it's important to note that only the declarations are hoisted, not the initializations. Understanding hoisting can help you avoid some common pitfalls and bugs in your code. What is the DOM? The Document Object Model, or DOM, is a programming interface that allows JavaScript to interact with and manipulate HTML elements on a web page. It represents the structure of the document as a tree of objects, where each node corresponds to a part of the document. This means you can dynamically change the content, structure, and style of a web page, creating a more interactive user experience. Now, let's discuss a practical question. What is event delegation? Event delegation is a technique where you use a parent element to handle events for its child elements. Instead of attaching an event listener to each child element, you can attach it to the parent and take advantage of event bubbling. This approach improves efficiency, especially when dealing with a large number of elements. It also makes your code cleaner and easier to maintain. And there you have it. With these questions and answers under your belt, you're well on your way to acing your JavaScript interview. It's not just about memorizing answers. It's about understanding the concepts behind them. Remember to stay confident, communicate clearly, and demonstrate your problem-solving approach. When you walk into that interview room, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you've prepared for this moment. You know your stuff, and you're ready to show it. Don't just regurgitate answers. Engage in a conversation. If you don't know something, it's perfectly fine to admit it and express your willingness to learn. Interviewers appreciate honesty and a growth mindset. As you wrap up your preparation, think about your own experiences with JavaScript. Maybe you've built a project that you're particularly proud of, or perhaps you've faced challenges that taught you valuable lessons. Sharing these personal anecdotes during your interview can set you apart from other candidates. It shows that you're not just a theoretical expert. You're someone who has applied their knowledge in real-world scenarios. Finally, don't forget to follow up after your interview. A simple thank you email can leave a lasting impression and demonstrate your professionalism. Reiterate your interest in the position and reference something specific from the interview to remind them of your conversation. Best of luck as you embark on this journey. Remember, every interview is a learning experience, and regardless of the outcome, you're gaining valuable skills and insights along the way. Embrace the challenge, stay curious, and keep coding. You've got this.